One more for tonight. Last but not least, as I go down this WJRD Top 11 Plus 50 survey, counting it down, one of my favorite records on this countdown, a kick-ass rock and roll record. It was a mind-blowing record because of the sound effects that were used at the beginning, at the end of this record. It sounds archaic now, 50 years later in 2016, but in 1966 it was mind-blowing. It was an acid explosion. It was sheer imagination, technical imagination. I'm blabbering like a madman. Diary of a madman. The Rolling Stones, baby. It's the Stones. Have you seen your mother standing in the shadows? I gotta tell you, you gotta listen to this. 1965, 1966 was phenomenal for the Rolling Stones. Every season in those 2 years, going into 1967, the Rolling Stones had a hit record played on AM radio stations, whether it was WTBC or JRD in Tuscaloosa or WLS in Chicago. Look, The Last Time in the spring of 65, Satisfaction summer 65, Get Off My Cloud in the fall of 65. As the years go by, if I remember correctly, and I'm going by memory on this, so I'm probably mixing up the names of the chronology of these records. As the years go by in early 66, I think, Mother's Little Helper, 19th Nervous Breakdown, that was in the spring of 66, Painted Black, around the summer of 66, Lady Jane. Remember Lady Jane in the summer of 66? And then Have You Seen Your Mother Standing in the Shadows? God, dog. You don't hear that anymore. None of the oldie stations play it. Why? Why? One of their best rock and roll records. Well, there's a couple of people I want to mention before I finish this video. Glenn Johns, who later produced the first two albums by the Eagles. He was an engineer on this record. He engineered this record. He also served as engineered on As the Years Go By. And there's another fellow I want to mention. His name was Mike Leander. He arranged the strings on As the Years Go By. He also served as an arranger on this record as well. And Mike Leander, he wrote the score. He wrote the string section on She's Leaving Home by the Beatles off of Sgt. Pepper. Mike Leander. The Beatles and the Stones, baby. So it is at number, I believe that's all I got to say. Oh, one other thing I got to say about the Stones. The Stones were a complex group. They dressed in drag. You remember the sleeve to the single, or maybe it was the album cover where they dressed in drag. That was the Stones. They were a kick-ass rock and roll band. They were macho guys, and Mick Jagger, he was having one affair after another. It wasn't just with Mary Ann Faithfull. It was with other women too. But then they had this androgynous persona, and they didn't have any problems dressing up as women. As a matter of fact, after that photo session where they dressed up as women, they kept their women's clothes on and they went to a bar in New York City. You could do that in New York, but you couldn't do that down here in Tuscaloosa. Oh my God, the rednecks will be all over them in a minute. Ooh, but the Stones, they had it rough in concert. I believe I read one time that Mick Jagger got socked in the face. He had a chair put across his head one time. And oh God, I read about Altamont. There's a fantastic book about Altamont. You got to read it. It is one of the most riveting reads, particularly when the Stones got on stage and there was Hell's Angels beating up people all over the place. And a guy got killed at Altamont when the Stones were playing. I mean, it's just the positive and the negative all gets weaved into the Stones legend, the Stones rock and roll history. Well, anyway, I'm rambling, so let's go ahead and finish this video. Oh God, I love this record. It's just, even 50 years later, it just sounds absolutely fantastic. They were cutting edge these British bands and these garage bands, they were just exploring new sonic directions. It was just one mind-blowing record after another. Rolling Stones, Have You Seen Your Mother, at number 14 on WJRD's Top 11 Plus 50 survey of October 31st, 1966.